Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm here for a new live stream to talk about the latest AC Milan news and rumors currently going on. It's been a couple of days in which I haven't made a live stream concerning these news, so I thought it was time to give a little recap of what's been happening in these past few days and, of course, updating you guys with the latest news at the same time. Now, the big news today, of course, is regarding Romagnoli because apparently, according to Sky and other several sources, Chelsea have submitted an official offer of around 35 million euros for Romagnoli, but it was rejected by Milan. It seems that Romagnoli is not one of those names that Milan is willing to let go. Of course, it's only his second season at Milan, and he's one of the building blocks of this team. So in my opinion, it will make no sense to let him go even for 35 million euros, which would mean profit for Milan from what they paid for him. But at the same time, it just doesn't make any sense that Milan will want to get rid of him. He didn't have the best of performances last night against Torino. But of course, the season is still very young, expecting him to have a very good season altogether. So that is the offer that was rejected by Milan. It was a 35 million euro offer from Chelsea. It seems that it also might be a tactic for Milan to see if Conte and Chelsea could somehow even offer more, and maybe Milan could actually let him go. But how much more could they actually offer for Romagnoli? I'm not really sure. In my opinion, Romagnoli is not going to be a player that's really sellable at the moment. I think Milan will want to keep him long term. So I really don't see why Milan would even consider selling him at this very moment. In other news, there's also been final confirmations for Jose Sosa. He finally resolved the bureaucratic issues that he had pretty much that prevented him to play against Torino yesterday. Pretty much he had to get some paperwork done, and which was never officially confirmed up until today. So finally, he will be available against Napoli next weekend. So that is always good news to hear that finally he has resolved everything and he could actually play in a match now. Now, this morning, there were many reports talking about Stambouli. I don't know if you guys read about these reports, but Milan pretty much gave up on Paredes because Roma kept saying that he is not for sale. He's not one of those players that Milan could actually get with that loan and option to buy at the end of the season. Roma don't want any of that. I've actually heard some reports saying that they would be willing to sell him, but Milan really doesn't have the financial money at the moment to even consider buying him in the summer. So maybe if they want to go after him, this could be a possibility in the winter time. But at the very moment, it seems that Paredes really won't come at all to Milan due to the fact that Milan don't have much money to spend this summer. Now, that is why Milan started looking at this option of Stambouli, currently playing for PSG. However, a few hours later, Sky reported that this deal was off, meaning that Milan wasn't interested in this player anymore. Also because PSG were actually willing to sell him on a permanent basis rather than, once again, loaning him out with the option to buy. So it seems that Milan are completely off this track at the moment. They will not be going for Stambouli nor Paredes anymore, and therefore they're looking for other players in that midfield. They're looking for low-cost options, players that are not really playing a lot, but are good in general, and they cost not too much. Because that is the main problem at this very moment for Milan. They don't have enough funds to fund any major move, especially in the midfield or so forth. So I think that, in my opinion, this is the only type of player that they could go for, players that are very low in cost. And finally, they're going to have to go after these players because they simply don't have the money at the very moment. Also, in other news, there's been confirmation that Bertolacci, of course, yesterday we all saw that he got injured in the match against Torino after coming on for a few minutes. He will be missing at least the next 2 weeks. Now, after the Napoli match, there is an international break, so that could help a bit in his recovery. So maybe he will be available for the third match of the season, so the one after the Napoli game. There's also been news regarding Torino and Gabriel. These types of news have been going on for weeks and months right now, in which Gabriel could leave to Torino on loan with option to buy. And it seems that we are very close to this deal actually happening, because Gabriel, there was a picture somewhere that Gabriel followed Torino on his Instagram account, and this could obviously give a suggestion that Milan and Torino are very close to finding an agreement over the goalkeeper. However, there are still no confirmations. Nothing is official yet. Milan seem to not even have given Torino an official answer at the very moment. So we still don't know what's going to happen with Gabriel. But once again, it seems like he's the more likely to lead between Diego Lopez and himself at the moment. Simply because Diego Lopez, there haven't been really any offers in recent days concerning him. So it seems much more likely that Gabriel will be leaving instead. There's also been news regarding Paletta. It seems that Atalanta want him back. This has been a story that's been going around all summer long. Atalanta really didn't want to let him go, but Paletta, his agent, could actually meet with Galliani today in Milan to discuss about going back to Atalanta. And there's also other teams such as Bologna and Palermo that are interested in the player. So this could be an option for him. It could be that he could leave once again, maybe on loan or maybe as a permanent basis. Thing is, once again, if he leaves, we're probably going to have to get a center back. And with about 10 days remaining in the transfer market, the real question is, will Milan be able to get one or not? Because it seems like we have been looking overall, but we simply don't show enough interest in any players. Obviously, we're showing interest in Musako in the past and other players in the defense. But overall, it seems like we're not really focusing on a defender anymore, but more on the midfielder. And that is why there's names that keep popping up, such as Stambouli, Paredes, and so forth. Now, I know many of you are asking about Quaresma. I've been reading some comments. You guys want to know what's happening with Quaresma. To be honest with you, I haven't really read any concrete or reliable source stating that Milan are ready to make an offer for Riccardo Quaresma. Now, this news came out of a Turkish website called fanatic.com apparently, and before reading this report, I never even heard of this site in my life. So to be honest, I can't tell you. I can't tell you exactly if it's a reliable source or not. But at the very moment, I don't think it's reliable enough to actually say that that Milan is making an offer for Quaresma. So he's still, I think he's 32 years of age. He's not an option that I would go for personally. If Milan are to go after him, I think it could be an okay option, but not more than that. Maybe for this Milan team, it will be good. But to be honest, I just don't see Quaresma happening now that Jose Sosa was signed as well. So I'm simply kind of... I'm not really sure where to stand on this rumor because, once again, the source wasn't reliable. I heard it was from the site fanatic.com. So I simply don't know if Quaresma to Milan is even happening or not. I simply don't think so, but we'll see what happens. So, guys, let me know your questions and comments on today's news. I'll be reading them for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Curious to see what you guys think about these news. So let me know in the comment section below, as I will be answering them for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Do I believe in Donnarummanism? I don't even know what that is, but if that means a religion following Donnarumma, then yes, I do believe in it. Do I think it's time to change our captain? Who do you prefer to be our new captain? I mean, I've been saying this for years. I simply don't want Montolivo as the captain. First of all, for many reasons. He doesn't have the leadership skills. He hasn't done anything to prove he's captain worthy. And he hasn't done anything to deserve that captaincy. So I simply don't know why Montolivo is our captain. But if I had to choose a captain at the very moment, obviously my option would be Donnarumma. But if I had to choose a more realistic option, I will maybe go for either Bonaventura or Abate. Those would be realistic options for me. Some more questions. Did you see Boateng score on his debut for Las Palmas? Good for him. I saw that. Good for him. Not that I really care, but anyways. Who would I like Milan to buy as a replacement for Montolivo? Anyone that's better than him. That's my answer, because I think there's so many options out there that are better than him. And it seems like we are looking for a defensive mid, someone to play ahead of the defense, most likely in that role where Montolivo is playing at the moment. So it seems that Montolivo, maybe at Milan, won't last much longer, since we are so desperately looking for a player to fill in that role. Do I think that Rugani will be a good buy for Milan to play as a center back? Definitely. I think Rugani will be a very good option if Milan could get their hands on him. Thing is, at the very moment, this summer, they don't have the appropriate funds. So if they are to go after Rugani, it would be in the wintertime or next season. But at the same time, you know, Rugani and Romagnoli are two very young options. We have a pretty young defensive line, and sometimes I feel like it's lacking a bit of that experience. But at the very moment, you know, I think we still need some experience. So maybe someone a bit more aged will be fine if we could get him. Who could partner up with Romagnoli with chemistry? Well, that is something that I'm very curious to see, first of all, regarding Gustavo Gomez, because Gustavo Gomez, you know, he's been brought into the club to do great things, and I want to see how he's going to play. He's expected to start on against Napoli in the next match, simply because Paletta will be out for suspension after picking up that red card yesterday against Torino. So Gustavo Gomez is more than likely to start against Napoli. So we'll see how Romagnoli and him could partner up. I hope there's a type of chemistry that sparkens up between them, because if they could find some kind of chemistry, that would be great for these two young players to work together with each other. What place do I see Milan ending up this season? Realistically, like I mentioned in the season preview a few days ago, I think that realistically we could probably end fifth. Like, if I really have to be biased, maybe third or fourth max. Like, I don't see Milan going after better than that. But realistically, I'm saying fifth. What do I say about on this transfer rumor that came out today for 10 million? I haven't really heard about it, so if you want to fill me in, please do so, Michael. Is there a decent Primavera defender we can promote to the first team as a temporary fix, the winter transfer? Speaking about defenders, I'm pretty sure there are, but the thing is, Milan simply won't put in a Primavera defender to start on a daily basis. You know, there's not a player that Milan could just call up from the Primavera and make a starter at the very moment and say, you know, you have this responsibility until the winter transfer window, until we could sign someone worthy. I simply don't see that. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure that's even possible. El Ghazi wants AC Milan, but Milan can't afford him. Yeah, from the last time I saw him, his market value was about 7 to 8 million. That's at least what Transfer Market was saying. But El Ghazi would be a decent option. Many people are saying he's not that good, but I think he's still a better option if you look at it than other players that we have. So I think if El Ghazi actually arrives, that would be great to see. But at the very moment, I just don't see him coming. But, you know, if he comes in, I would see him as a better option to Honda, for example. We always have to think like that. You know, you can't just think that he's going to be one of those players that is supposed to change everything. You're supposed to get players at the stage in which are good replacements for players that could leave. For example, if El Ghazi comes in for Honda, that'll be a perfect change. Like, you're trying to get your squad better with more depth. That is what I'm trying to say. Nasri, I haven't really heard anything about him. But I heard something about him last week, but wasn't reliable at all. Even though I think his wages are pretty high, so I really don't think that Milan will go after Nasri. A player called Liba? No, I never heard of that. Never heard of a player called Liba in my life, to be honest. Yeah, we also have Suso on that right wing, and I think, once again, he could be a very good player. I believe that Suso could have a very decent season if he somehow adapts to the game style. He didn't have a bad game yesterday. He actually did quite well, but I think it's going to take time for him to actually adapt to this new playing style that Montolivo is trying to imply. Are the new owners planning to go for youngsters or for world-class players? I think that a good player from Milan would be William Carvalho instead of Montolivo. That is the type of thing that Milan is trying to do at the moment. At least that's what I'm predicting with the signings that they made so far. They're trying to go for youngsters, players that have talent, that could do well. And it seems that in the winter they could go for more world-class players that they're like, since they have the funds in the winter, they're going to be going more for these players. So at the very moment, I think they're trying to get players that are not worth that much, but have good talent and could potentially raise in value in a few years. And in the winter time, they're going to get those experienced players, those players that have a higher prestige overall. Loaning Mangala, that is a thing that doesn't, like, it's not being talked about anymore. So, yeah, loaning Mangala is not happening, at least for now. Who could I see leaving Milan in the days remaining? That is a very good question. I'm happy you asked that one. Players leaving, I think Honda could leave. Jose Mauri, definitely. In the defense, I'm not really sure if anyone's going to leave, but if there's a player that could leave, it's Paletta, probably Paletta. I'm going to read some more questions, guys, before I sign off. So send them in, and I'll try to answer them as best as I could. So send in those questions. Also, if you guys have any comments regarding the team in general, that'll be great. What do I think about having Cristante back to replace Montolivo? Won't happen. He's playing for Pescara now. I think that Pescara is not going to let him go like that. So, yeah, I simply don't see him coming back to Milan to replace Montolivo. At least that's what I see at the moment. Like, I just don't see that. Do I think that the Chinese will spend a lot of money in January? Well, the reports are saying that they will be spending guaranteed 100 million euros. That is what was written in the contract. It's almost like a fixed price that they have to spend. That is one of the things that Berlusconi said once he sold the club. He said that if Milan has to get sold, the investors need to make sure, and they need to accept the fact that they have to spend a lot of money. And, that is pretty much the deal that came with it. So I'm expecting them to spend 100 million, if not very close to 100 million in January. Why doesn't De Sciglio have a starting spot? I think that Antonelli and De Sciglio are going to really battle for that spot all season round. Antonelli had a decent game, not the best yesterday, so we might be able to see De Sciglio next week against Napoli. I think that De Sciglio will actually have a chance against Napoli to play. Lapadula was actually suspended, so he wasn't for yesterday's match against Torino. How long was I a Milan fan? Since I was born. What do I think about Jose Sosa? I mentioned this, I think, almost every day on this live stream. Jose Sosa is a player that I don't know much about. I haven't really seen him play in matches. However, I've watched videos of him on YouTube, and it seems like he's a skillful player. He's capable of being a good playmaker, but obviously it all depends how fast he could adapt to Milan's play style, and more importantly, Montella's playing style. So I think that if he does well, I think that he could definitely earn himself a starting 11 spot, but that's going to take a bit of time. Yes, I did mention about Jose Mauri possibly leaving on loan, and that is why I think he's one of those players that you guys asked about, of me thinking who will leave. I think that Jose Mauri is one of those players that could potentially leave from now on until the end of August. Where do you think Balotelli will play? I simply don't know. Honestly, that's a very tough question. I honestly have no idea whatsoever where he's going to play. For some reason, I think he's not going to be playing in Italy anymore, though. That's my question. My philosophy on it. So, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. I think I've answered enough questions. Once again, as usual, thank you for asking all these questions. It makes the live stream more interactive. And if you haven't yet, please leave a like on this live stream. It always helps. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Rossoneri TV to stay updated with everything going on at AC Milan on a daily basis. And I'll catch you guys later for another video. This has been Gio signing off. And as always, Forza Milan.